Okay, so our second guest speaker tonight has been in the industry for 20 years, helping deliver advanced telco solutions in a cost-effective and a tailored way. And his topic of quickly launching MVNOs has been among some of the most popular topics in 2022. And I'd say that Africa is actually right now is a place where all the MVNOs are starting to let's say expand, and the number of MVNOs are going to grow. So our next presenter is Owen Griffith of Pharos. So we ask Owen to shed some light on this exciting field. Owen, you're welcome on stage.
Thanks, Alex. I'll actually join Owen. And what we're going to do is have a bit of an interview as opposed to a presentation. And that's why I think you're going to see quite a lot of me today, maybe unfortunately. We feel these a bit more interactive sessions, I think, are a little bit more interesting to maybe a PowerPoint presentation. Owen and I actually had we were lucky enough to actually get to meet face-to-face last week in Cape Town. So after COVID, we finally had the chance to meet again at AfricaCom. So, but glad to see you here as well, Owen. And so a topic of what we would love to maybe hear your perspective a little bit on is making MVNOs easy. And why we put this topic on the agenda is, as Roman has explained earlier, adding mobility projects or anything around adding mobile solutions to a portfolio has been quite attractive to many in the audience and has been a topic often asked about. But I think a lot of folks also realize it's actually quite complex to do. And we do see our role as trying to make this as easy as possible and trying to help our customers on maybe becoming an MVNO or adding mobile solutions to their portfolio. And part of this story is that we feel how we can make that easy is to have good partners like yourself to make it as seamless as possible and as smooth in this whole journey. So maybe, Owen, first question to you. Can you tell us a little bit about Pharos and how you help telcos on this journey to become an MVNO?
Yeah, thanks very much, Klaus, and hello everybody from South Africa. I hope you can hear me clearly. There's a violent thunderstorm outside my window, so I hope it doesn't cause too much interference. Yeah, so to answer your question, Klaus, about Pharos, well, let me first tell you a little bit about us. We're a telco software company. We've been doing this for 20 years or so. We're based out of Johannesburg. Our offices are just across the road from MTN. It goes without saying that we're a very large supplier to MTN SA, but also to many other operators throughout Africa. And specifically, when we talk about MVNOs, one of the challenges around... sorry, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you well.
Okay, great. One of the big challenges for MVNOs as well as operators is in the area of integrating charging systems to a host network. Typically, mobile networks are designed to have, one customer base and one charging system and one policy server. The minute that you start trying to do MVNO, you've got to move your charging system integration into a multi-tenanted kind of domain, and that's one of the challenges. The other is around the technical challenges of integrating many different protocols for the different underlying bearers. So, for example, to do 2G and 3G voice call charging, most networks require you to do that using intelligent network or camel type services. So you need an STP or a camel gateway before you can actually speak to a charging system. And that's a very expensive node and not necessarily ideal to integrate that external to the host network. Charging protocols for SMS tend to be diameter-based, and charging protocols for data, also diameter-based, GY, and of course your GX policy control protocol is also diameter-based. In South Africa, we have a unique situation where we charge for USSD services. That's also done over diameter. And each one of these diameter flavors is a little bit different AVPs, and it makes it really difficult to add a charging system and carve aside that traffic for an MVNO on a host network. So one of the things where we actually started working with PortaOne, and Klaus and I have been engaged now for over 2 years, and the genesis of it was really solving this camel gateway problem. And Pharos has a solution called SIG, the Charging Interworking Gateway. And we've integrated a couple of times with PortaOne in South Africa just to solve this problem. So just a brief, let me just run through quickly what SIG does. It's a camel gateway. It's a diameter routing agent. It can perform mobile number portability lookups on the B numbers to solve your MMP issues. And it aggregates all of your diameter traffic into one stream so that you literally plug your OCS into one place. You get all your charging requests for all your bearers over one set of diameter connections. So it really simplifies that. And it's multi-tenanted. So look, it's targeted primarily at operators because it's allows multiple MVNOs to cleanly integrate from a charging perspective into the host network. So I hope that answers your question. A bit long-winded. Sorry about that.
No, that's all good. Much appreciated. And I think so. That's sort of a collaboration that we basically where we integrated portability with your platform for Camel Gateway. Was basically our first collaboration a couple of years ago as part of one of our MVNO rollouts in South Africa, and so. But since this collaboration was so successful, and we actually got very good feedback from everyone involved, including obviously yourself and the team at MTN, that were very happy about how quickly and how knowledgeable our team was able to sort of tackle these challenges for the MVNO. We actually then sort of kind of to connect the pieces to today. We had another project once again in South Africa where the client wanted to launch a different product called, or that included what's called social bundles. So those are basically your top-ups for mobile services only for specific social networks. So for instance, for WhatsApp or Facebook. So in that part of the world, it's a very popular type of product. And by the way, this is also a very prime example of why our pre-sale team starts by investigating which products you aim to launch when you have conversations with us, because oftentimes your product choices dictate which technology or infrastructure needs to be used. So anyway, the social bundles capability basically required us to use a PCRF, and PCRF, we always had a partner that nowadays we don't want to use anymore due to the war in Ukraine. So we looked for partners that we felt might have the capability. So I started reaching out to Owen at Pharos and had say, look, is this something you can do? So this is kind of how we continued in our collaboration and helped our MVNOs and MVNEs to make this journey a bit more easy. So maybe, Owen, for those of you in the audience that don't know what PCRFs are and what they do in mobile projects, can you explain a little bit about what a PCRF is and how yours is different than others in the market?
Yeah, sure. That's a huge question.
Yeah. And you got 5 minutes.
I'll do my best. Yeah, good luck trying to find out any information on the PCRF. It's very obscure, but I'll try to make it simple. So let's start with what the acronym means. It's the Policy and Charging Rules Function. Okay, so a PCRF has to collaborate with a policy charging enforcement function, which is typically your packet gateway in a mobile network. It can be a NAS in a fixed line network. You can use them in WiMAX networks, 2G, 3G, 4G, LTE, 5G. So a PCRF, it transcends multiple network verticals. It's pretty common. It also needs to speak to your charging system. And imagine a triangle, if you will, of charging system, PCRF, and PCEF. And in a cooperative effort, these nodes need to work together to facilitate the delivery of mobile data products. So as Klaus has already mentioned, the social bundle. If you want a social bundle to work on a network, you purchase it. Gets loaded on the OCS. The OCS tells the policy server that customers purchased the social bundle, and the policy server then has to instruct the packet core to install the respective charging rules that will cause the correct packet inspection and rating groups to be assigned when the traffic comes through and is sent back to the charging system. So you see the triangle thing happening there. So the PCRF is let's call it the brains of the network. It's the ultimate decision authority about what a customer can and cannot do. It's part of your product catalog and your product rules. You can have static rules, you can have dynamic rules. We support both. There's a specific set of use cases for MVNOs that we use, social bundles being one of them. Another very important one that I think is worthwhile touching on is the management of zero-rated IP addresses and URLs, specifically for the purposes of customer care. So if you want your app traffic on your portal or customer care app or captive portal to be zero-rated, that's very good and well, but you've got to manage that traffic. As soon as you create a zero-rated URL or IP, it's open to abuse, to tunneling and various attacks, and you're going to have revenue leakage. So what PCRF can do is manage the amount of zero-rated traffic that you deem to be normal, and when you exceed that, to start charging for the traffic. And there's many things you can do on a PCRF. Installing charging rules for social bundles being one of them, managing zero-rated URLs, managing different bit rates for different price plans, maybe when you purchase a turbo boost package to get a higher bit rate, or change a usage cap. All of these things will be a cooperative effort between the charging system, the PCRF, and the packet core node. So it is a complicated thing. I hope I've explained it in a way that people can understand. It is a standards-based unit. It uses the GX interface to talk between the packet gateway and the PCRF, and typically the SY interface to speak to the OCS. Or in the case that we've integrated with Porta is the NCHF interface based on the 5 units, which we have successfully implemented for an MVNE in South Africa that was mentioned earlier. Then to answer your question about how is ours different? Well, it has to be the same as a normal PCRF in order to be called a PCRF and do the PCRF functions. But what really makes it different are a couple of things. Firstly, it's a multi-tenanted PCRF, which means you can actually host multiple MVNOs on the same platform. So it's perfect for use in an MVNE environment where you want to have one PCRF with multiple rule sets for different MVNOs. These are features that the big vendors like Huawei and Ericsson and ZTE and Nokia struggle to do. They tend to focus on the primary operator base, the big PCRF that just looks after one type of customer on the MNO. So that's the one thing. The other thing is that it's able to scale up as well as scale down, both in terms of capacity and pricing. So deliberately designed it so that it's the pricing is attainable, affordable for MVNEs and MVNOs, because that's one of the barriers to entry into the PCRF market is the cost.
Right.
Prohibitively expensive if you go with the big vendors. So we were able to bring to market a fully functional PCRF that's also multi-tenanted, that can be sold for an affordable price point. Now, I know affordable is relative. I'm not saying it's cheap, I'm saying it's cheaper than the big guys. And we offer different models. We have a subscription-based model as well, kind of software as a service model where you pay as you use, or we have a pure OPEX model, or we have a normal CAPEX model, or a mix of those. So technical flexibility as well as pricing flexibility. That's what
Fantastic.
I think the difference. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Owen. I think that was very helpful to hopefully get folks in the audience a bit of an idea of the type of projects that we've been doing, how we work together. And sort of as a quick summary before we move on, I know we're just around the time for our session here. So yes, adding mobile solutions to your portfolio can be very complex. We do think at PortaOne it can be also very rewarding, so it can open up new markets to you. One thing or one aspect about making this journey easier is obviously you can use portabiling that you already have installed for your mobile solutions. You don't need to go out and look for a new charging system or billing platform. And my encouragement or my suggestion would be rely on partners that PortaOne has already worked with, such as Pharos. And it makes it easier because we've already integrated. And we already know we work well together. We know the team at Pharos. And so look for partners that are agile enough to respond quickly when needed. And if you're interested in anything more, please find Owen in the audience later on. I think he mentioned he'll stick around for the conference. So go talk to him, or reach out to me if you want to have his direct contact details. That's also very much possible to do. So thanks again, Owen. Thanks for your time, and thanks for attending the conference today.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.